Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our first session of ISA Oman Section, Knowledge Connect. In this session, we will be one of our expertise, Mr. Mohammed Abaseery. Mr. Mohammed Abaseery is a seasoned principal consultant cybersecurity consultant with over 22 years of experience, specialized in OT cybersecurity and cyber resilience. He holds bachelor degree in communication and electronics from Alexandria University and has built a robust career in automation and control system across various sectors. His expertise include designing, implementing, and managing cybersecurity programs with a strong focus on operational technology, OT environments. He had successfully led cybersecurity initiatives in various sectors, applying industry standards such as International Society of Automation, IEC 62443, NIST, and ISO 27001 to safeguard complex infrastructure. Throughout his career, Mohammed Abaseery has held key roles in organizations across the Middle East, including Intake Automation and Intelligence, Process Automation, Marafiq, and Accenture, contributing to national projects such as cybersecurity assessment, risk management, and the design of Cybersecurity Operations Center, SOC. He also well versed in implementing of cybersecurity solutions for major industrial clients such as Petroleum Development Oman, SABIC, and Aramco, cementing his reputation as a trusted expert in the OT cybersecurity domain. Welcome on board, Mohammed, and happy to have you here.
Thank you, Nasser. My pleasure, and thank you for this introduction. Really appreciate it. And it's my pleasure to be here with you for the first session in Oman chapter, inshallah. That was great for me.
Thank you very much. So let's go directly. Mohammed Abaseery will be presenting his topic about strengthening organization, OT cyber resilience. Mohammed, I'll leave the floor to you.
Thank you, Nasser. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mohammed Abaseery Arafa, and very excited to speak with you today about strengthening organization OT cyber resilience. As we have a lot of session before about the difference between OT and IT, it's very clear now the industrial environment become more critical and the target for cyber attack, and because even nowadays become more digitalized, and the risk of cyber threat targeting the system, which is always growing because the attacks, the ICS network get increasing by integration with IT environment. Even now, a lot of integration with IoT technology. So once we make this kind of integration, so the network attack get expanding. And today, we will explore how to enhance security, maintain business continuity, and ensure compliance in OT environment, especially in oil and the gas sector. Yeah. Before diving deeper in our session today, we need to define what is the OT cyber resilience. OT cyber resilience is an organization's ability to anticipate, withstand, recover from, and adapt to cyber threat in its operation technology system. So if we summarize that sentence in two words, how to absorb and how to adapt. So during normal operation, for any unexpected event which can cause disruption for operation impact, how the organization can absorb this sudden disruption, and how he can adapt swiftly so he can continue producing its product. If it is power plant or water distribution, water production, or oil and gas, he has to be keep produce its product under attack, and how he can swiftly find an alternative solutions to adapt to another alternative solution, maybe strategic, maybe any one of the options. We will mention some of them during our session to continue operating its plant. And if likely, bad likely, it has interrupted because of cyber cause, and that cause total loss of production or unplanned shutdown or trip, how we can come back to normal operation as soon as possible with the minimum critical asset required for the first startup. That is the cyber resilience. It's broader than that because it's a lot of integration, different technology, process, policy, even a lot of management process like asset management, change management, spare party management. It's broader than, and we'll mention some of that strategy in our session today. I like IT security, which is focused on data protection. OT resilience prioritizes safety, reliability, and the operation continuity. It's not just about preventing attack, it's about ensuring our critical operation continue even during a cyber incident. Considering, for example, oil drilling operation, if any cyber attack disrupts the control system, managing drilling rigs, it could halt production and push risk to work safely. To mitigate that risk, alternative might include secondary safety system, manual override procedure, or real-time monitoring. And for that, we need to go for some process. We call it business impact analysis and threat risk assessment analysis. And based on that input, we do some process, some, and as we do some deliverable to create incident response plan, disaster recovery plan, and so on. By having this alternative in place, organization can ensure that they can continue operation safety even when faced with cyber threat. So today in our session, we will cover the evolving OT cyber threat landscape. We will discuss about key component of OT cyber resilience. We will mention how standard ISO standard IEC 62443 is a best practice and it can help us as a foundation for cyber resilience. We will discuss how to build resilience OT security architecture. We will mention what is the incident response and the business continuity strategy, and we'll refer to one of the real world case study of cyber resilience in action. And the last thing, actionable step to strengthen our OT cybersecurity environment. And by the end of this session, I wish it was clear understanding of how to build resilience into your OT infrastructure and protect your organization from evolving cyber threats in next slide. Yeah. Cyber threats against OT environment are becoming more frequent, sophisticated, and disruptive, like IT cyber attack. Focus on data breach. OT attack can cause physical damage, can cause operational disruption, and even risk to human safety. So key threat, including as a history from last 3 years, which is targeting OT infrastructure, ransomware, which encrypt critical system, halting operation, so the operator will not able to find and monitoring the real time indication or alarm for the environment and infrastructure environment, and he cannot do or take the correct action to adapt the control philosophy as required because he is not able to control and to operate. The second type of attack, which is supply chain attack, exploiting third-party vulnerability, and that is very critical today because third-party is apart from cyber attack nowadays, and the supply chain from procurement cycle to come to the site for commissioning and installing, all that is a service attack can be infected in the cycle itself. That become very targeting and a lot of supply chain attack. It's happening last year. And insider threat, employee or contractor misusing access because this is trusted partner. He came to the facility with a valid gate pass, and maybe he can a source of our attack scenario. Nation state attack for sure, we cannot ignore that, which is targeting critical infrastructure. Illustration example here, just imagine a scenario with hacking hackers which can gain access to the control system of gas from any entry point because as we mentioned earlier as a starting OT environment get increased and growing because a lot of integration with OT. So it is not air gap like before. Even now, IoT is coming in the picture. So a lot of entry point get increased. That's why we recommend it for threat modeling and define threat scenario or threat catalog for our site by threat modeling to identify which threat can be a target for our organization. And if that could manipulate flow rate, that can increase the pressure in dangerous level and potentially can cause explosion. And here the impact will be exactly the same impact from safety. So the same explosion will happen, damage will happen because of the cyber tools. And we cannot ignore the recently attack happened in 2021 with this colonial pipeline cyber attack demonstrated the vulnerability of oil infrastructure, which causing widespread fuel shortage, which highlighting how cyber threat can directly impact operation capability and as well public safety. The increasing conversion of IT and OT has expanding, and in future we will not speak about IT or OT. We will speak about the T itself because in IT and OT we are using now the same technology, same vulnerability exists, and this kind of integration because of the business need, and the cloud may be used by if it is not recommended nowadays, but we expect it because of the business need. It can be approved by some exception or by some security control, and we will speak only about the T, which is the technology here. To build a resilient OT environment, organization has to focus in four areas actually, with risk assessment and the threat intelligence, because we cannot protect our environment and we can't have clear idea how we can protect what is the best course of action to take to protect without knowing our asset, without knowing our crown jewel we need to protect. So first thing we need to have risk assessment to define what is the most critical asset we need. And in OT, business continuity or cyber resilience, because of the time constraint, we need to work only about the critical. Even in the recovery plan, we cannot recover everything simultaneously at the same time, but we need to prioritize which assets we need to recover as a first priority. That's why risk assessment is very critical as a starting point. Threat intelligence here will play a very critical role to understand vulnerability before they exploit it, because OT cybersecurity will address what is the risk for the known vulnerability, but for unknown vulnerability we cannot detect if we don't have any threat intelligence tool. So if we have normal event one and we have normal event number two, once we correlate both of them as together, that can give me indication of compromise for abnormal activity ahead, so we can do a response in correct time. Second point, we need to focus about the network segmentation. So isolating critical OT system, not only from IT and from external, but even to think from OT cybersecurity business continuity management perspective. For example, our first layer of defense and the last layer of defense at the same time is a backup system. So if we don't have a trusted and validated backup secure in proper way, we will be in trouble. And we always speak about automated backup system. So if this backup in level 3 and we get hit by cyber attack, and there's a first step to isolate that, to be air gapped, to spread or to avoid the attack is spreading from external. We don't have backup. Even the ransomware, because he will do some reconnaissance activity and he knows we have backup, first thing he will encrypt the backup solution itself, which is online. So now segmentation to keep the backup in level 2 or in a separate DMZ like 2.5 is good decisions, because once you have isolated, you have secure your backup, and additional to that to have offline backup and keep it in somewhere. Even segmentation to control the VPN or any other active directory, for example, something we need to unify the segmentation for microservice architecture. Nowadays, we speak about zero trust security, which is implementing strict access control and the continuous verification. This is very important, and this is the today recommendation always to go for zero trust architecture for OT environment. Batch management, vulnerability management, which updating OT system to minimize the downtime is very critical to manage in smart way. And for sure, the most important, because all that address the first phase from cyber resilience, because cyber resilience is about three phases: before the incident, during the incident, and after the incident. So during the incident and after the incident, we need to have perfect incident response plan, and we should have perfect business continuity plan, which is preparing to respond and recover quickly from cyber incident. Furthermore, effectively use network segmentation to provide unauthorized access that ensuring control, but should be done very smart, because we need to think from business continuity perspective. If we need to recover as an asset as a first priority, so we need to recover the minimum asset only. And if we have proper segmentation, that can help us to recover only what is the required asset, and that will reduce the time for recovery, and will reduce the time for the effort also, and reduce the time for downtime if we get hacked. So that is very important defense against cyber threat while maintaining operation stability. Resilient OT cybersecurity strategy must align with global standard. We are ISA standard, so we have the IEC 62443 standard, which provide a structure approved for securing industrial automation and the control system, IACS. And here the key principle include defense in depth, layer security control at every layer, security by design, embedded cyber security from the start. We have rule-based access control (RBAC), ensuring only authorized user can access OT system, and the continuous monitoring with detecting anomaly in real time. And that can help us to have best practice to secure our OT infrastructure. Even we can use other standard like NIST 861 with incident response, or NIST 800 160 for cyber resilience, and even the IEC 6043 mentioned itself how to map with other controls to have cyber resilience, because that not working in a silo mode, but we should integrate and use out of security. But as a foundation, this standard has a lot to start with, which can help you in the three life cycle assess, maintain, and monitoring phases. By adopting this best practice, organization can enhance security, ensure compliance, and can improve resilience. Now, because this kind of integration and because of growing of the service for OT environment, the key word how to minimize our attack surface. So by reduce the entry point in our network, and that cannot happen without implementing a strong security architecture for OT environment. And here we need to have our asset inventory and visibility. So asset management is very critical for cyber resilience. A change management, because to remove or to add or to do any revise or new design, it can't be without change management approved. Network segmentation is very critical. IAM solutions is very critical. Nowadays, we speak about AI and the threat intelligent machine learning for threat detection is very critical. This kind of multi-factor authentication, zero trust concept, all that should be taken in actionable way to build a strong security architecture for OT environment. Picture of digital framework, for example, for oil production facility, which have H pipeline drilling rigs, and the control system is monitoring 24/7, for example, and the access is strictly controlled. Access points are well defined and monitoring continuously for unauthorized attempt. From that perspective, we can think how we can minimize even not only the entry point, but even how we can minimize the number of people who can use or can interact with our control system. And that is very strong to have multi-factor authentication, not only in level 3 and level 2, even nowadays in level 1 as well, if possible, based on the technology exists. And that control organization can reduce vulnerability and can enhance operation continuity. The fact is that all organizations think they are not a target, and the equation for the likelihood depend on the history. So if this incident doesn't happen before in the same organization, so the likelihood is low until it becomes the first history. And this is my recommend. Please don't be the first history for incident response in your organization, because no security strategy is perfect. We also speak about reducing the risk. We never say we minimize the risk, or sorry, we eliminate the risk, but always we speak about reducing the risk. So we sure no security strategy is perfect, and the incident can happen, and the key is to have a structured response plan. So cyber resilience will address not only what we have discussed about all kind of solution segmentation or have IAM solution, which something we working on the honeymoon time, which is the preparation phase. We need to have in our preparation phase, be sure about our team is well skilled, well trained, have the knowledge, has the competency. We have the proper technology which can detect a threat or can prevent attack, which can detect abnormal activity. We have the policies, the procedure, and also we will train by tabletop exercise, by kind a lot of drill, by different type of drill. That should be in the preparation phase, just to be ready if the incident happens. So we have the same scenario, we already train well, and we can do proper in response and fast response and the correct response to eliminate spreading that attack and keeping producing and keep our production going on during the attack itself. So incident response plan, IRB, is very critical. And once we comply with the NIST 861, we have these phases from preparation phase. We speak about just always overlooked, and this preparation phase we should work on it since first day in our honeymoon. And once la qadar Allah, we have any incident, so how we can respond by detection and analysis using our monitoring tool to detect this anomaly, how we can containment, how we can eradicate, isolate affected system to prevent further impact, how we can recover, restore operation quickly while ensuring integrity, and for sure post-incident learning to analyze the root cause and to update the security measure. This is very critical now to give some effort to invest in the incident response plan and in OT recovery plan. A lot of work here actually, because here we speak about two phases, and these two phases during the attack and after the attack has a lot of technique and a lot of even methodology and terminology. So we have a case study here I want to share with you for cyber resilience. And let's take it in action. As a major energy company, for example, in oil and the gas sector, was targeted by ransomware attack intended to interrupt or disrupt the operation. Initial attack, which is malware, tried to encrypt essential operation. We think from that just to understand how the process or how the concept itself. So initial attack, which is malware, tried to encrypt essential operating control system, which would have severity impact output and the safety. If we have resilience in action by have network segmentation, the network was segmented correctly, and the threat intelligence detection, this is good to have. But if we don't have incident response, so the team quickly enhance their ability to stop this attack and enhance the ability to recover by have tested recovery plan to isolate the affected system and to communicate transparently with the stakeholder. If they have correct backup system, which is verified and tested in preparation phase, now they will take it immediately to install and restore this affected, which is halted by ransomware. That will minimize number of the downtime, and they can swiftly come back to normal as soon as possible. We have mentioned Colonial Pipeline, which is cyber attack in 2021, and that caused significant operation disruption. The attack targeting a key operator of the pipeline that transport gasoline and other fuel, leading to widespread fuel shortage, and response involved significant effort to restore operation because there is no recovery plan, how to restore. It was take too much time because that was not planned and not trained. So quickly, while highlighting the need for robust cyber resilience in the face of such a threat, that emphasizing again the importance of proactive security measure. So BCM or cyber resilience is a proactive mitigation technique just to be ready and well tested and train the people for such incident. So if it is happen, people not to go in panic, not to struggle who will do what and how, but they will do properly in sequence manner, in very proactive manner. Communication plan has been tested, who will do what, how to escalate, how to respond, that will written and tested so that the downtime will be get decreased. So to increase a strong our OT cyber resilience, organizations should follow uh, something in advance also, because we didn't mention about incident response plan. It's like 6 step, but once we have drill, we should create for the team something like run book, which is very detailed, so specific, and that should be detailed. So in our run book, we have mentioned who will do what, but how that should be tested as well. So assess risk exposure, to conduct security audit, and to conduct vulnerability assessment and the maturity assessment, to be assured about the capability of different team members. They are able to do their task in perfect way. That will help us to minimize the response time and the recovery time. So assess risk exposure, conduct security audit, vulnerability assessment, implement defense in depth for multiple security level, enhance threat detection, deploy AI like machine learning, train employee, raise awareness, reduce human error, develop a cyber incident response plan, regularly test and update. That will help us for correct response and for swift recovery. By following that actionable roadmap, organization can minimize the risk, can improve the response capability, and will enhance the resilience. In a summary, OT cyber resilience is essential for safeguarding critical oil and gas infrastructure. Cyber threats are evolving, and organizations must take a proactive approach. Key takeaways here align with industry standard like IEC 62443, implement defense in depth, integrate in your cyber architecture, zero trust architecture, integrate with the organization, change management, asset criticality, develop a strong incident response recovery plan that will be your safeguard if you get attacked somewhere, la qadr Allah, and that will guarantee you how you can come back to normal again after cyber attack as soon as possible with minimum effort and in systematic way. That's for half. So thank you for your time, and I'm happy to take any question.
Thank you, Engineer Mohammed. I have two questions from the team that shared with me. Uh, First one was asking how often do we need to review this incident response plan and business continuity plans?
Yeah. So it should be in two triggers. So it should be annually to test the incident response plan, and if any incident happen in between, then you have to test your plan again after, because once you have incident response, you will have lesson learned to find the root cause. So once you have this root cause and lesson learned, so we don't jump to conclusion, but once we recover, we will have our lesson learned report, which will make in the clear answer about how this attack happened, what is the source, and they give detail about your response. If the run book you follow is accurate, if you need to have to adapt your run book, if the people doesn't understand the run book is accurate, but people doesn't well trained and doesn't understand the steps which is written in the incident response as a run book, maybe the communication not clear. So based on the scenario and based on the response, you can find which area you need to revise or to update. Maybe during the incident you come to conclusion I need to redesign our network, or maybe you come to know I need to install new technology. So based on the scenario and the root cause, you can have to update your incident response plan. And without this ad hoc manner, regularly, every year, we need to revisit the plan and do enhancement if required. Another trigger, if it change management came, for example, like top management, another manager, which has another strategy, like organization should go for some site unmanned, then the BIA has to be repeated again. So for the same site, because the strategy has been changed from manned to unmanned, then the BIA has to be conducted. The incident response has to be revised based on the new strategy option, and you have to revise both incident response plan or and the BCP plan.
Thank you. Uh, the second question is really main regarding the more of the role and responsibilities. One of the things that we face, or the some of the customers face, that the challenge between OT cybersecurity, IT, and even the system controls engineers. So, what is the battery limit here? What is the barrier between that define for defining the planning of OT resilience? Do we need to include even the controllers? Do we need to include the specific systems to operational to the failure of the failure of some key components in the process that could cause loss of business as well, or it's only limited to the specific OT components?
That depend on the scope of work actually. So you can't, and depend on also the maturity of the organization, where it is actually from the business continuity plan. So if we have organization was well mature and have everything, we can come to the level one, and we can have cyber BHA and this workshop to mimic how the same operation impact can be done by cyber cause. So we can go for hazard study cyber BHA, and we can come to know if we have single point in failure, which can be a cause of total loss of shutdown or trip. And if that can be hacked, so we need to address how we can secure that and increase the availability. But if the organization is not mature, we always recommend to start from level 2, which is the CCR component actually. And that will be address only the asset in level 2, like server, workstation, switch, and so on. And the question about the rule and the responsibility, once you define the scope of work and you define what is the purpose from the BCM you need to conduct, it's like one question and use answer. So in some organization, they're concerned if I get operation impacted, like total shutdown because of cyber cause, what I should do. So the scope of work to address which asset can be compromised and lead for total loss of production from level 2. So the interested party here, or the team which is involved in here, will be operation team, DCS team, because DCS team is the owner for the DCS system, and the cyber security team, because cyber security is the team who is securing and hardening the system. So the answer for this question, based on the scope of work, you can define who is working in this area. And we almost speak about field operator operation, who's sitting in the CCR to operate the planet. For sure, this is engineer who's taking care about the DCS system, cabinet, and the asset in level 2, like server, workstation, application. And for cyber security team, who's working for secure the system and hardening the component.
Thank you, Mohammed. The last question that I receive is asking about the methodology that we organization need to adapt in terms of identifying the criticality of their asset, quantification versus this looking into the qualification. So, which approach you feel each organization should take in terms of identifying and hence planning their business continuity planning?
Yeah, actually, the key here word is critical asset. So before jumping to the BCM, even for batch management backup system, we need to define the critical assets so we can do good planning for this activity. So we start with critical asset with priority number one, and then for medium and low asset, because you cannot do a lot of activity at the same time, and that will not be smart. Even for the batch, you need to batch first thing the critical, and then you can go for batching the other which is less critical. Same for BCM, you have to define asset criticality. So the question here, how I can define asset criticality? The answer is that you have to define what is the crown jewel you need to protect, because if you lose this, your asset for any cause, one of them is a cyber attack, you will be not able to produce your daily activity. For example, if this critical asset if get impacted because availability, okay, which is mean not available, what will be the operation impact? And here we address only availability, but also we need to address the integrity, because engineering station which is exists in level 2, if not available, it doesn't have any operation impact, the operation or loss of engineering, but the production will continue no problem. But if we address the integrity part, because this engineering has the logic which has the setting and the interlock and permissive, so if get impacted because of the integrity, engineering station become very critical asset now. So you need to define how the approach, if it is only availability and integrity. But come back to the business continuity. For recovery part, we take care about availability also, because once we need to recover from scratch, if we halt by cyber attack and we now in the position for total shutdown, unplanned shutdown or trip, I will not care about high availability. So I need to come back to normal even with one asset, one HMI. So availability is not, integrity not required here, because I will be available to operate the plant. Only my concern is the integrity for the backup system itself. So engineering station not critical in this position, because in BCM engineering not critical, because now I am not in the position to do any modification logic. Maybe it's required, but normal during recovery not required. So I need only one asset is HMI. Maybe because the operator not to log in, and based on the design, I'm not able to log in because Active Directory in level 3, for example. So I need to connect Active Directory, and maybe that can give me good decision to go for local user account. Maybe I don't need for sequence of event, but some operator need for startup to know what is the real alarm on in the field. So this should be critical. So based on the network design and the architecture, you can define what is the critical asset which is required to recover. That from BCM. But from cybersecurity perspective, it's another angle, because from cybersecurity, you're looking from which asset is critical. If it get compromised because of cyber cause, that can do harm for. So here we need to go for another exercise, define asset respect to which asset exists in level 3 is not critical, but in level 2 is critical, because very high direct integrated with a controller. In level 2, we have engineering. If we speak about availability, it's not critical, but if consider integrity, is very critical. HMI, if they have 3, so it is critical, but because we have how many HMI, also we can answer it's critical, not critical. And here we need to map the asset with BIRA with the operation impact. So if I lose HMI, that can be loss of monitoring, but if I lose 2 HMI, that can be loss of control, and after some time, if cascaded and time increase without recovery, that can lose of even protection. Okay, so based on the asset and the time and number of asset, we using availability and integrity, we can divide different operation impact. It can be loss of monitoring, loss of engineering, loss of control, and it can be total loss of production. It can be also disaster. Yeah.
Clear. Thank you very much,
Is it
Mohammed.
answer the question?
Yeah, I think that's all the question that I received, and you answered them all. Thank you very much. I really appreciated the effort and time and knowledge connect and
Usually.
expertise sharing. And I would like really to send a message to all our audience here. Please come forward, participate in this knowledge sharing, and be an active member in the community of control and automation, ISA, and the overall all community. Thank you, Mohammed. I will conclude now with the membership
Thank
ISA
you,
video.
Nasser.
Yeah, thank you very much, and looking forward to see you in a future events, inshallah. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. Alaikum salam.
Joining the International Society of Automation as an individual member is one of the smartest career decisions you'll ever make. ISA members have unparalleled access to technical resources and networking opportunities, delivered by a nonprofit professional association that has represented the needs and interests of automation and control professionals since 1945. ISA membership costs just $120 per year and gives you access to dozens of benefits. You can network with other professionals in your local area through ISA's geographically organized sections. You can access cutting-edge technical resources, like ISA's renowned industry standards, online web seminars on hot topics, thousands of peer-reviewed technical papers, and much more. You'll get discounts, 20% in most cases, on your purchases of ISA training, publications, and event registrations, and you'll earn 2 free technical division memberships so that you can join expert communities in the topics and industries that matter to you. Plus, joining ISA opens up a world of leadership possibilities. You could contribute technical content and get published in our magazine or e-newsletter. You could volunteer on a committee or run for an elected position on our leadership team. Or you could contribute your expertise to a standards development committee and change the way we look at technology in the future. There are so many opportunities to get involved, but it all starts with becoming a member of the greatest automation society in the world, ISA. For more details, visit www.isa.org/member benefits.